So we were discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, and from chapter 5 onwards, being requested by Vidura, Maitreya Muni is discussing about the process of creation of the entire material universe. So, in the sequence of discussion, so we have come to the point where now Brahma is empowered to do the secondary creation. The primary creation is done by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and having created all the universes, all the Brahmandas, Mahavishnu himself enters into each and every universe as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So when it was the right time for creation within the universe for furthering the process of creation, from the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, there comes a beautiful lotus. So as we see here in this picture, so there is a beautiful lotus comes out of the navel of Lord Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And the same Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, with an intention to further the process of creation, expands himself as Kshirodakashaya Vishnu, who is the Paramatma of each and every living entity, who is there within our heart as our Antaryami or Paramatma. So that Kshirodakashaya Vishnu enters into this lotus as its Paramatma. As soon as Kshirodakashaya Vishnu enters into this lotus, immediately Brahma appears on top of that lotus. Then Brahma could not see anything. He just saw a lotus flower which is coming out of the water. That water is very turbulent. So he wanted to know where from this lotus flower is coming. He entered into the tubes or nala or the stem of that lotus with an intention to find out the source of this lotus. But he could not understand. He eventually came back to the top of the lotus. He performed tapasya for 100 human years. Then he had the beautiful darshan of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. After having the darshan of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, he offered wonderful prayers unto Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, seeking for permission, seeking for empowerment to do his service unto the lotus feet of Supreme Lord, to do his service of further creation of the universe. Then Lord Vishnu speaks to Garbhodakshaya Vishnu speaks to Brahma, saying that I am very much pleased by the tapasya that you have performed. So with the same tapasya, you will understand what to do, etc. And you don't worry, though your service is passionate in nature, you will never be affected by the qualities of Rajoguna. You are always protected by me, you are saved by me. You start doing your activities and everything will be manifested the way you want, the way you did the previous days by my mercy. Having spoken those words, and finally Lord Vishnu instructs Brahma to create the variety of living entities who will be obedient to me, who will follow the laws, rules and regulations laid down by me in the form of Vedic literatures. So that was the instruction with which, after giving that, Lord Garbhodakshaya Vishnu departs from that place. Then Vidura asks, so please tell me, what did Brahma do after the departure of Lord Garbhodakshaya Vishnu? How did he create the variety of living entities through his body and through his mind? Can you please explain the process of secondary creation that is done by Lord Brahma? So that was the first verse of the 10th chapter, first and second verses, wherein Vidura inquires from Maitreya Rishi. So now please tell me, what did Brahma do? Having received the order, having received the empowerment from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Then Maitreya says that as Lord Vishnu, as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu indicated to Brahma that please perform tapasya. By that tapasya you will understand what to do. And whatever you want to do at the end product will be revealed to you within your heart. So that was one of the first instructions spoken by Garbhodakshaya Vishnu to Brahma. So following the order of Lord Vishnu, Divyam Varchitam Tapa, Lord Brahma performed austerities for 100 celestial years. That is equal to 36,000 human years. That for that many years Lord Brahma performed tapasya mind filled with bhakti, contemplating upon the form and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his mind and heart. So that was right. So then, when he performed tapasya, he saw the lotus flower and himself being seated on the lotus flower and water below, and that water is agitated by the fierce wind. Then, with the empowerment which he received by tapasya and bhakti, he swallowed up the wind and also the water. Then the entire atmosphere became peaceful. So this was the lotus which he saw, the lotus flower, lotus stem and lotus leaf, everything Lord Brahma saw. Then with the same empowerment that he had received by the performance of tapasya for a long time, 100 celestial years, and maturity that he has received in his knowledge by the performance of bhakti. So tapasa hi edamanena vidyaya chatma samstaya vivruddha vijnana balo. So then what he did? He entered into that lotus flower. He went inside the lotus and divided the lotus into three divisions: Svargaloka, Bhuvarloka, and Bhurloka, with an intention to provide different places for different variety of living entities. But he was not satisfied with three divisions. So why only three divisions? There are different mentalities for different living entities. So then he further divided the three divisions into 14 divisions by having subdivisions within them. So they are known as Satyaloka, Tapaloka, Janaloka, Maharloka, Swargaloka, Bhuvarloka, Bhurloka. And then there are 7 more lower planets within the Bhumandala. They are like hollow cavities within the Bhumandala known as Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala. So like that, 14 planetary systems were created by Brahma. Still he was not satisfied. Still he made many subdivisions within each and every planetary system. So like that. So many subdivisions like that he made. So Acharyas mentioned that in order to negate the idea that it is impossible to create three worlds out of one, it is explained that the expansion even greater. He not only started with three, he extended to 14, and within those 14 there are so many subdivisions. So that means from one lotus flower which emanated from Lord Brahma, Lord Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Brahma had divided into 14, and then they with many subdivisions within them. So this is what Brahma did at the very beginning. And the same thing we can also anticipate in each and every universe. So this is how unlimited variety of universes have been created by Mahavishnu, and then by Brahma, the creation goes on ahead. So like this, here is Mahavishnu, you can see. Through him, many universes have been created, and within each and every individual universe, there is Mahavishnu. There is Garbhodaksha Vishnu, from whose navel came the lotus. Brahma is there situated on the top of the lotus, and divided that lotus into 14 divisions, so that at least 14 variety of living entities can be placed at 14 different locations. So that was the intention. So then, along with the division of these 14 divisions, whatever Brahma does, that is all called as Visarga in Srimad Bhagavatam. This is considered to be the secondary creation of living entities by Lord Brahma. So this particular secondary creation of different living entities by Lord Brahma can be seen as Vedic alternative to modern theory of evolution. So in our school studies, we were all taught in the early school days, maybe 6th class, 7th class, 8th class, 9th class, during those years, we were taught about Big Bang theory. We were taught about Darwin's theory of evolution from Origin of Species book, etc. etc. So this book written by Darwin, known as Origin of Species, it mainly talks about the three principles: natural selection, divergence, and survival of the fittest. So these are various things. We will not get into all these technical details, scientific details, but so this we know in nutshell. There was unicellular microorganism at the very beginning, maybe amoeba. Then that divided into bicellular organism, then tricellular, multicellular, and then insects. Like that, one after the other, from one living entity, many other living entities have been formulated. So this process is called natural selection. By nature's arrangement, in order to survive according to the changes in the nature, the living entities have adopted different way of living. So different ways of lifestyle. So by which their external appearances have been changed from one species to other species, like that. Darwin's Origin of Species explains. Survival of the fittest. So in order to survive according to the changes in the environment, they have changed themselves and they survived as a new species, though they evolved from the previous species. So the theory says that everything began one single cellular organism, and that is the source of rest of all, and everything is there. But from Vedic literature, we understand that it is not so that simple. So the creation is actually done by Brahma, and he creates all the variety of living entities one after the other himself. It is not that he created one species and that species itself evolved into another species, that it evolved into another species, not like that. So what all Lord Brahma created, how did he created, what is the proper understanding of this creation, why he created, how he created, all those details are discussed in this particular chapter. Especially we'll be able to see more details in the upcoming 12th chapter also and 20th chapter. Chapter 10, 12 and 20. These three chapters are exclusively dedicated for the creation by Lord Brahma, about all the variety of living entities that are there in the material world. So we need to study these sections from Bhagavatam very seriously. Otherwise, we'll continue on with whatever we have studied in our school days. So we consider that that is all in all, but there is much more than that. So whatever they speak, it is as per their understanding, as per their observation. But there are many things which we can't observe with our naked eye. So for that, we need to depend upon the Shastric explanations. So that is presented in these chapters. So today let us see from the 10th chapter what all is been created by Lord Brahma primarily. Then further details are mentioned in the 12th and 20th chapter. Eventually, when we come to those chapters, we will discuss them. So this was the query asked by Vidura, which we already discussed. Let me know how Brahma, the grandfather of the planetary inhabitants, created the bodies of the living entities from his own mind and body after Lord's disappearance. The creation made by Brahma specifically by his mind and body to populate the 14 planetary systems that he had created from the lotus stem is called secondary creation by Brahma. This is Lord Brahma's daily creation at the beginning of his day. So every day in the morning, according to Brahma's lifespan, he creates this division of 14 divisions and also the different living entities who will be going to live in these 14 planetary systems. So here you can see more clearly 14 divisions. Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Sargaloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka, 7 upper planets and 7 lower planets. Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, and Patala. Visarga is the creation of bodies for the jivas by the resultant combination of the 24 elements. Mahavishnu had created 24 elements from Prakriti. By glancing upon Pradhana, he impregnated Pradhana with Jiva Shakti and Kala Shakti. So by the interaction of Jiva Shakti and Kala Shakti, that Pradhana gives birth to 24 material elements, starting from Mahatattva, then Ahankara, then mind, intelligence, 5 Jnanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas, 5 Panchamahabhutas, and 5 Tanmatras. Like the 24 elements were created. So using the same 24 elements, Lord Brahma creates various bodies for both moving and non-moving entities. Whatever bodies we are possessed of, whatever bodies in which we are living, whatever bodies all the other living entities, including the plants they are residing in, they are all made by the combination of 24 elements by Lord Brahma. It means giving jivas forms with intelligence, senses, and body for what purpose Brahma is giving us bodies? for engaging in material enjoyment, for which we have come to this material world. Otherwise, we could have been in the spiritual world only, serving the Supreme Lord happily. But once our desires are fulfilled, then we should pursue liberation by practice of jnana or yoga, or by the practice of bhakti. We should go back home, back to Godhead, according to the qualification of the practitioner. So, thus, Brahma creates various living entities and various things that are required for all of us to live in a sane condition. So, all these things we will discuss in the 10th, 12th, and 20th chapters. So, last week, then we were discussing further. So, like that. So, then Vidura asked a question in between. So, before coming to this verse, so can you please tell me about the time? So, Maitreya briefly explains about the qualities of time, because in the 11th chapter is going to talk about elaborately about the nature of the time. The time is that which is actually understood by the transformation of three modes of material nature. When time is impregnated by Mahavishnu into Pradhana, that Pradhana goes through so many transformations. Three modes of material nature goes through so many transformations. So that is understood by the effect of time. So time is the nature of time is known through the interaction of the gunas, the transformation of the gunas. It has no particular attributes. It is actually called as nirvishesha. There is no vishesha for time to explain. And apratishthita. So that means it has no beginning or end. It has not firmly fixed. It is eternal in one sense. So Purushastha Upadanam Atmanam Leelaya Srijat. So Lord Vishnu accepts it as efficient cause in order to create, maintain, and annihilate the entire material universes. In order to perform the pastime of creation, maintenance, and annihilation, the Lord uses time as is potency. So in that way, by time only we see everything that is happening in this world. By time only, everything that has been created will be destroyed in due course of time. So what was the reason that Lord is creating again and again and destroying them again and again? In order to indicate that though this material world is temporary, but it is not illusory. It is actually real, but temporary. So in the 13th verse it is mentioned that Yate danim tatagrecha pashyadapi etadidrisham. As the universe exists now, it was existed previously before the previous destruction, and it will exist after destruction also. After the lifetime of Brahma, there will be another annihilation. Then Lord Vishnu again creates all the set of universes. That means this creation is going on eternally. That means the material worlds are all real. They are not imaginary as Mayavadis say. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mityam they say generally. It is not so. It is real but temporary, because since it is having a time for creation and time for annihilation. So that is being mentioned in the 13th verse. Then in order to explain the effect of time, how time manifests various things in the form of creation and the form of annihilation, this verse is being spoken. So this verse says that Sargo Navavidas Tasya, this is 14th verse. We are at actually 14th verse. Sargo Navavidas Tasya, Prakruto Vaikrutastuya, Kala Darvya Gunar Asya, Trivida Pratisankrama. So it is nothing but here Maitreya Muni is telling that whatever creation done by Lord Vishnu, which was explained in the previous chapters, chapter 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way up till 8, and whatever is going to be created by Brahma in the future, it will be going to be discussed. Everything combined together, there are 10 types of creation, and then there are 3 types of annihilation. The 10 types of creations can be arranged into 3 types of creation, 3 category of creations, and similarly in the opposite way, there are 3 categories of annihilation. So that is being indicated here. So there are 10 kinds of creation in 3 groups. What are they? 6 elemental creations by Mahavishnu. This is called as Prakrita Srishti. Prakrita Srishti means by glancing upon Prakriti, Mahavishnu had created the 24 elements, and by combining those 24 elements, he created unlimited Brahmandas. And by entering into all those empty Brahmandas as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, he created water within it air within it, ether within it. Then he also created the universal form within it. Then he also created a lotus flower from his own navel, upon which Lord Brahma appeared. All this is done by Mahavishnu. So whatever is done by Mahavishnu, whichever is explained in the previous chapters, previous 2-3 chapters, that is called Prakriti Srishti, because the creation is happening from Prakriti by the glance of Mahavishnu. So this entire creation can be seen in 6 steps. This is called as 6 elemental creations. Out of 10 kinds of creation, the first 6 are called as Prakriti Srishti, or creation by Mahavishnu from Prakriti. It's nothing but the 24 creation of 24 material elements in 6 groups. So that is called Prakriti Srishti. Then there is creation of 3 types of jivas by Brahma. That is called Vaikruta. Brahma on his own, by his own energy, by his own strength, he creates 3 category of living entities. That is called Vaikruta. But creation of the Devatas, which is the 10th creation, is a combination of both elemental and by Brahma. Because among the creation of 24 elements, there was a creation in which from Ahankara, in the mode of goodness, there appears the Devatas who will be supervising the activities of 5 Jnanendriyas and 5 Karmendriyas. And also along with the creation of intelligence, the Devata Brahma appears. Along with the creation of mind, the Devata Chandra appears. Along with the creation of Ahankara, Rudra appears. Along with the creation of Mahatattva, Lord Brahma as Gunavatara appears, or Lord Vishnu appears within the universe. So like that, the various devatas also appeared through Mahavishnu. So those devatas are part of Prakrita Srishti. And other set of devatas about whom we are going to discuss today, there are 8 kind of superhuman beings. They are part of Vaikruta. Thus, the 10th creation, which is the creation of superhuman beings, which is called as creation of devatas, is both Prakrita Srishti and Vaikruta Srishti. It is combination of both elemental and by Brahma. So thus, the first 6 kind of elemental creations are called Prakrita Srishti. The remaining 4 creations, the creation of 3 types of living entities and the creation of devatas, is called as Vaikruta Srishti or Naimitika Srishti. Making Brahma as Nimitta, making Brahma as instrument, making Brahma as a medium, via medium. Lord Vishnu only causes the creation of all these 4 variety of living entities. That is called Naimitika Srishti or Vaikruta Srishti. That is nothing but using the 24 elements of the 24 elements of the elemental creation, transforming them, combining them in a different proportion. Lord Brahma creates 4 kinds of bodies for the 4 kinds of living entities. That is called Vaikruta. Vaikruta means Vikara. Just like by adding little bit of lemon into the milk can become curd or it can become paneer. So in that way, it's like that. And then finally, the third category of creation is daily creation of various jivas by couples. Whatever living entity that have been created by Brahma does early in the morning, but throughout the day the creation should go on. Throughout the day the creation goes on by the union of couples. The male and female forms they unite and continue to beget children, their offsprings. That is called Nitya Srishti. Thus there is creation in 3 divisions: Prakriti Srishti, Naimitika Srishti and Nitya Srishti. These are 3 types of creation. In the opposite order, there are 3 types of annihilation. Whatever that has been created by Mahavishnu, that will be annihilated by Mahavishnu only. That is called elemental destruction. The destruction of 24 elements, which happens at the end of Brahma's life by Kala. By predetermined time, after the completion of 100 years of lifetime of Brahma, the 24 elements which all the universes that are formed, everything will be destroyed and they will enter back into Mahavishnu. That is called Prakritika Palaya. And then whatever Lord Brahma creates at the beginning of his day is called Naimitika Srishti, and that will be destroyed by the fire emanating from Lord Sankarshana or the 11 Rudras or Lord Shiva at the end of the day of Brahma. That means whatever has been created at the beginning of the day of Brahma by Brahma will be destroyed at the end of the day of Brahma by the fire emanating from Lord Sankarshana, or from the forehead of Lord Sankarshana appears 11 Rudras, and those 11 Rudras will emit fire by opening their third eye, and that fire will destroy the 14 planetary systems and all the living entities that are there in the 14 planetary systems. That is called Naimitika Pralaya. And then the destruction of the individual bodies by karma, by their individual actions under three modes is called Nitya Pralaya. Just like the birth of different variety of living entities by the union of couples, that is called Nitya Srishti, and their death by their respective karma, they live for so and so years, and by their karma they will die one day. That is called Nitya Pralaya. So what we see in generally, the birth and death is called Nitya Srishti and Nitya Pralaya, and whatever is created by Brahma at the beginning of the day, at the beginning of his day is called Nitya Srishti, Naimitika Srishti, and that is the same thing is destroyed by Lord Shiva at the end of the day. That is called Naimitika Pralaya. And before the birth of Brahma, whatever universes have been created by the creation of 24 elements by Mahavishnu is called Prakrutika Srishti, and the destruction of that has been created by Mahavishnu is called Prakrutika Pralaya, which happens at the end of Lord Brahma's 100 years. So in that way. So Prakrutika Srishti, Prakrutika Pralaya happens before the birth of Brahma and after the death of Brahma, after the end of lifetime of Brahma. And Naimitika Srishti happens every day at the beginning of every day of Brahma. Naimitika Pralaya happens at the end of every day of Brahma. And Nitya Srishti happens that whatever we see through the couples. Nitya Pralaya is by their karma they will die one day. So these are the three variety of creations, three variety of annihilation, which takes place because of time. Time, which has no beginning and end, causes the beginning and end of each and every living entity, the 14 planetary systems, and unlimited universes. So the next three verses talks about the six elemental creations, the six types of elemental creation by Lord Mahavishnu. That is called Prakriti Srishti, the creation of Lord's Maya Shakti, or creations by Prakriti. The first is the creation of Mahatattva. By glancing upon Pradhana, Lord Vishnu agitates Pradhana. From that agitation, there first appears Mahatattva. Then there appears false ego. Then from false ego, in the mode of ignorance, there appears five gross elements and five sense objects. And then from false ego, in the mode of passion, there appears knowledge, senses, and jnanendriyas and karmendriyas. Knowledge, senses, and action senses. And from the false ego, in the mode of goodness, there appears the devatas who will be controlling the activities of jnanendriyas and karmendriyas, and also the mind, along with its deity. So thus, these are the five category of creation, five groups of creation out of six, which are by Prakriti. And there is sixth creation, which is also done by Lord Mahavishnu. That is the creation of ignorance, which is produced by Lord's Avidya Shakti, which is meant for bewildering the living entities. So Avidya Shakti is little different kind of creation about which we will discuss today. This is one of the important subject matter to understand, so that we will discuss. I think this is where we stopped last week. So Maya or Prakriti or Pradhana has three conditions or three divisions. So they are called known as, the first one is Pradhana, which is also called as Guna Maya. Maya Devi consisting of three modes of material nature, that is called Pradhana. So from this Pradhana, by Lord's glance upon Pradhana, there appears the 24 elements starting from Mahatattva all the way up to the earth. They were created. 24 elements means 5 Antakaranas, Man, Buddhi, Ahankara, Chetana, and 5 Karmendriyas, 5 Jnanendriyas, 5 Panchamahabhutas, and 5 Tanmatras. Like 4 Antakaranas, 10 senses, 5 Panchamahabhutas along with their 5 properties. Like the 24 elements have been created by Pradhana. So they are all creations of Gunamaya. These are all real creations. So this is because the scriptures are very clear in order to tell what is what. These elements are always existing. So even though universe is there or not, but elements will be there from that point of view in their constitutional position. So as Mayavadis generally they say that Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. The entire material universe, the material world made up of 24 elements, they say that to be Mithya or illusory. So in order to negate that idea, our Vaishnava Acharyas and Vaishnava scriptures say that the creation of these 24 elements are all real creations. They are not illusory creations. They have their precedent deities even in the spiritual world. Even in the spiritual world, all these devatas are there serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they are all Lord's associates. They come down here in order to facilitate the places for our enjoyment. And with the use of these 24 elements, the aggregate, that means the entire universe, the body of the entire universe in the form of the 7 universal layers, in the form of 14 planetary systems, everything, and also the individual bodies, the bodies of the human beings, animals, and devatas, etc., they are all made by the combination of these 24 elements. And we have the divisions of our body like gross body and subtle body. They are all made by the combination of 24 elements only. So that is done by Pradhana or Gunamaya. And the second component of Maya Devi is Avidya, which bewilders the Jiva with 5 types of ignorances. This Avidya potency of Maya Devi has 5 coverings, the 5 layers of covering. They are known as Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha, Abhinivesha. What they are actually meant, we will see maybe in a couple of slides later. But these are the 5 types of coverings which belongs to the Avidya potency of Maya Devi. These are not real. Why they are not real? Because these 5 have no place in the spiritual world. These 5 do not exist in the spiritual world. The 24 elements in their precedent deity form, they exist in the spiritual world, but not these 5 energies of the Avidya potency. 5 types of Avidya potency. They don't have any reality in the spiritual world. They are there only in the material world. For what purpose? In order to bewilder all of us. That also we'll see in the future slides. The world composed of real and unreal. Real means from Pradhana, the 24 elements created by Pradhana, and unreal means the 5 types of ignorances produced from Avidya Shakti of Maya Devi, Avidya, Asmita, Raga, and Abhinivesha. They are produced by Pradhana and Avidya. The entire universe, the world in which we are living, it is made up of by the combination of Pradhana, the 24 elements of Pradhana, and the 5 coverings of Avidya Shakti. With the combination of these two, the entire world is made up of. So we will see how they are made up of by Pradhana and Avidya in the future slides. And then the third potency of Maya is Vidya, which actually destroys the 5 types of ignorances. These 5 types of ignorances, the 5 types of Avidya potencies, they actually bind us in this material world. By their energy, they actually bind us in this material world. But that bondage can be destroyed. We can actually cut through that bondage by following Vidya, by practicing Vidya. Vidya appears in 6 stages: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Tapasya, Vairagya, and Bhakti. These are the 6 Angas of Vidya. By taking shelter of these 6 Angas of Vidya, we can actually cut through the bondage created by Avidya. We can actually destroy the Avidya, and then we can go back home back to Godhead. So this is how the 3 potencies of Maya Devi have been mentioned. So the entire creation of Mahavishnu comes under the part of Pradhana component, and the creations of Brahma will be explained by Avidya and Vidya. So how Avidya appears, that we will discuss in today in the 10th chapter, and how Vidya appears through Brahma, that will be discussed in the 12th chapter. 12th chapter talks about the manifestation of Vidya. 10th chapter talks about the manifestation of Avidya. And the previous chapters like chapter 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, they all talked about the manifestation of Pradhana. Even the previous 3 verses also gave kind of summary of Pradhana. Now, a brief discussion about Avidya. What is the 5 coverings of Avidya? These 5 coverings, what they are exactly, how they actually bind us in this material world. That is actually mentioned in the 12th chapter and 20th chapter. Just for reference, I have taken those verses now itself. Sasarjagri and the Tamishra, Madatamishra Madikrit, Mahamoham cha Moham cha Tamaschagnana Urtaya. So, Brahma first produced the 5 functions of ignorance. For what purpose? In creating the various living entities known as Yakshas, Rakshasas, Devatas and humans, false identity must arise in the Jivas. So when Brahma's service is to create bodies for Devatas, Asuras, human beings, animals and plants, etc. So when Jiva enters into a particular body, that Jiva should identify with that body. That identity will be given by the 5 coverings of Avidya. Otherwise, in spite of staying in the human body, if I think myself as my previous bodily disposition, like previously if I am dog, if now I am there in the human body, if I still think as a dog, that creates chaos in the human society. Instead, my thinking myself as a human being, it is because of the 5 coverings of Avidya. The 5 coverings of Avidya will give me a separate identity than that of the original Atma. I forget my original identity as Atma and I identify myself with the body in which I am living. The male person thinks oneself as male, the female thinks oneself as female, the animal thinks oneself as animal, the devatas think themselves to be devatas. Like that, everyone thinks themselves to be according to the identity of the body. Whatever is the body, they think themselves to be according to the body. It's like that. That identity is possible only by avidya potency of the Supreme Lord. Without ignorance, this false identity is not possible. Thus, first the functions of ignorance appeared on their own through Brahma. Though these 5 functions of ignorance have been manifested by Vishnu, they were in subtle nature. But they became practical, they became real through Brahma. They became into practice, they are put into action by Brahma. So before creating different living entities, Lord Brahma already created different identities. Then he formulated the body. So that living entity living in that body lives in that particular identity. So how these 5 types? So what are the 5? Tamas, Moha, Mahamoham, Tamishram, and the Tamishram. They are mentioned in the opposite order. So these 5 are explained in the next slide. First one is Tamas. Tamas means Avidya. Avidya means forgetting about our Sarupa, forgetting about our true identity in the spiritual world. When we come to material world, we should actually forget who we are. If we still remember who we are in the spiritual world, we will not enjoy here. There is no fun in our enjoyment here. For example, when we are performing an activity, we know already what is going to happen, the outcome of the activity. There is no fun in that. There is no excitement in that. There is no enthusiasm to do that activity. Something like that. So we actually, when we come to the material world, we forget who we are in the spiritual world. That is because of the first layer of avidya shakti. That is called avidya or tamas. We enter into tamo. We enter into the material world, which is made up of ignorance in that sense. Then, when we enter into the material world, we need to have some identity. We cannot be identityless. We cannot be no one. That identity will be given to us by moha, or it is also called as asmita. Egoism or false identification with the body in which we are living. Whichever body we enter into, if the jiva enters into devata body, they will identify themselves to be devata. If the jiva enters into human body, they will think themselves to be human. If the jiva enters into the body of an animal, they think themselves to be that animal, etc. That is because of the second layer known as moha or asmita. Like this, all the living entities will enter into their respective bodies. They will forget their original identity and they will have new identity. Then what happens? When they were living like that together, they will experience happiness from the friends and near and dear ones, not only the people but from the objects also. So when whichever object is giving them happiness, whichever object or person are very closely associated with them, they want to have their association for the rest of eternity. That is called Mahamoha or Raga. Attachment or applying possessiveness to objects of enjoyment. We have so many objects which are actually a source of enjoyment for us. For example, for me, this laptop, this mobile, and so many things. For grocers, it may be the house and the vehicles and the family members, relatives, friends, office, close colleagues, etc. They are all source of their happiness. So they want to be with them, or they want those people who are source of their enjoyment to be with them for the rest of eternity, for their entire life. That is called raga or intense attachment or mahamoha. But there can be competition. When two people want to have the same object of enjoyment to be with them for rest of eternity, there will be competition between two people. There will be envy between two people. That is, repulsion or hatred appears when one's enjoyment is obstructed. If the same object is desired by two people, the same person is desired by two people, then there will be conflict between them. That is called tamishram or dvesha. This is the fourth layer, because of which we have the categorization of friends. Those who are giving us enjoyment, they are called friends. Those who are actually obstructing our enjoyment, they are called our enemies. The friend and enemy things will go on. And finally, the fifth one is called abhinivesha or andatamishram. It indicates that subconsciously, though we are trying to enjoy so many things time and again in this material world, but all of us, the living entity by nature knows that there is something called death. The death means full stop to all enjoyment. So they think that before death comes, let me enjoy as much as possible without any interruption. That is called andatamishram or abhinivesha. Fear of death or absorption in material pleasure before death arrives. They are fearful of death. Death will come, death will come. Before death comes, let me enjoy as much as possible. Thus, they are deeply immersed in the material, so-called material enjoyment. That's how we see the people of this world. They are, even though they are in the fag end of their life, still they accumulate more money, more money, more properties, more properties. So by following so many illegal means, because they think that before death comes, let me have as much enjoyment as possible. Let me have as much money as possible. Let me have as much possessions as many possible. So this is how, by these five layers of ignorance, we are actually bound in this material world. These five can be categorized. These five can be seen as they are not originally present in the jiva in the spiritual world. These five coverings of avidya are not there with the jiva in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, jiva is very peaceful and completely enlightened, is full of knowledge and bliss. But in the material world, as soon as we enter into the material world, we are covered by these five layers. Just like in the winter season, we have so many clothing. We have inner wear, shirt, and then above which we have sweater, above which we have jerkin, etc. etc. So many winter clothes. During winter, we have so many clothes. Like that, there are so many layers. All these things are there. So they originally they are not present with the jiva in the spiritual world, but they were created by avidya for the purpose of jiva's enjoyment in the material world. If these five are not there, we cannot enjoy in this material world. So they actually facilitate our so-called material enjoyment in this material world. And these five can be seen as two shades of Maya. So they are shown the different color. The first one is Avarnatmika Shakti, that is the first one, Tamas, and the remaining four are called Prakshepatmika Shakti. Avarnatmika Shakti means it covers our original identity. Prakshepatmika Shakti gives us different identity in the material world. These four will give us different identity in the material world. So this can be understood by example. Just like all of us might have had experience of visiting a movie theater. Even now, visit drama festival, something like that. Especially we take consideration of movie theater only. When we enter into the movie theater after purchasing the ticket, initially for us to enter in, there will be some lighting. But when the movie is going to start, they will turn off all the lights. After entering into the movie theater, when they turn off all the lights, that is like Avaranatmika Shakti. We actually forget who we are. Then the movie is shown on the screen. The movie will be displayed on the screen. And while watching the movie, we ourselves identify with one of the characters in the movie. When that character is going through emotional turmoil, we actually cry sitting on our chair. We actually feel, we sympathize with that character because we are identifying with that character. That is what happens in this material world. Though we are nothing to do with the action that is happening in the movie, but we cry when the crying scene is going on. We laugh when the laughing scene is going on. We express so many emotions of adventure, fight, etc. All these things as things are displayed in the screen. Originally, the Atma has nothing to do with the activities of this material world. But as long as we are living in various bodies, we are actually identifying with that particular role. When we are in the human body, we are identifying with the human role. When we are in the Devata body, we are identifying with the Devata role. Like that, things will go on. So this is not required. So whatever Vaikrita, which we are going to discuss, the creation by Brahma, who possesses the Supreme Lord in his intelligence, that is the four types of creation. The first creation, that is seventh creation, according to the original list, six are by Vishnu and remaining four are by Brahma. Six types of immovable trees and plants. The eighth creation is 28 types of lower species or a variety of animals, birds. And ninth creation is one variety of human beings. The 10th creation is the creation of 8 kinds of devatas and kumaras. So these four variety of creations are the manifestations of Avidya Shakti of Maya. By the Avidya Shakti of Maya, we will have these four kinds of identity. The identity of trees and plants, the identity of animals, birds, insects and reptiles, aquatics, etc. The identity of human beings, the identity of devatas, gandharvas, apsaras, kinnaras, asuras, rakshasas, they are all part of the 10th creation. So these are all variety types of creations. So that we will discuss now from book. So what are all creations that are being mentioned in the chapter? So this we have already discussed Adyattu Mata Srishta. So now we need to continue from verse number 18. So here from the verse number 18 onwards, the creation by Brahma are explained. Sad ime prakrita sarga vaikritam api me shrunu rajo bajo bhagavato lileyam harimedasa. So the previous six category of creations, the creation of Mahatattva, the creation of Ahankara, the creation of the mind and Devatas, the creation of Karmendriyas and Jnanendriyas, the creation of Panchamahabhutas along with their properties, and the creation of Avidya. They are all called as Prakrita Sarga, the primary creation. Vaikritan Apimeshrunu. Now please listen. The secondary creation that is done by Brahma. The Visarga that is done by Brahma. Now I am going to speak. Who is Brahma? Rajo Bajo Bhagavato Liliyam Harimedasa. Lord Brahma, who is going to perform the activities which are in the nature of passion, because the creation activity is in the mode of passion, who had Lord Vishnu in his uh, mind and intelligence. Hari Medasa, whose intelligence is filled with Lord Hari, and using that intelligence, Lord Brahma creates various living entities. That creation is in the mode of passion. That's why it is called as Rajo Bajo, the activities of Rajoguna. The creation in the nature of Rajoguna done by Brahma. Now the seventh creation that is mentioned here. Saptamo Mukhya Sargastu Chadvidatastu Tamchaya Vanaspati Oshadilata Vakshara Virudo Druma. So it is now first in the first thing is mentioned that सप्तमो मुख्य सर्गस्तु षड्विधा तष्टुतां च या वनस्पति ओषधि लता त्वक्षारा विरुडो द्रुमा उश्रोतस्तमप्राय antasprusha visheshana. So this is the next verse also, both combined together here, 19 and 20. So at the seventh creation, the Lord Brahma starts his creation. That's why it is called Mukhya Sargas. Among all the variety of creations of Lord Brahma, this is the first creation. That's why it is called Mukhya Sarga. Because Brahma is starting with this, that's why it is called Mukhya Sarga. Among the creations of Chara and Achara living beings of the universe, the first creation is that of the immobile living entities. Tashtutam means those living entities does not walk here and there. They are at one place. Tashtutam Chaya. Shared with us. They were created in 6 divisions. All the variety of plants, immobile living entities are divided into 6 categories. But they have some specific qualities. Before discussing the 6 categories, we will discuss their specific qualities. What are the qualities? Utshrotas. They distribute their nourishment upwards. This we can also understand. The trees, they collect water from the roots, from the ground, and the water grows upward throughout the branches of the trees, and the tree also grows upwards. The nourishment and growth of the tree is vertical, gradually grows upward. It's like when we sow a seed in the ground, the tree comes out to the surface of the earth and grows upward, 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 upward. The nourishment is from the base, from the root. That's why it is called Uthrotas. And Tamapraya, they are almost unconscious. The trees are almost unconscious. They have consciousness, but they are almost unconscious. Antasprusha, but they have feeling of pain within on being cut. When we cut different branches of the tree, when we cut the tree from the very root, they actually experience pain within, but they cannot express that pain. For example, when we hit an animal, a dog, it barks back. When we beat a person, the person will beat us back or hit us back. But the plants does not retaliate. They only experience the pain, but they don't retaliate. And Visheshana, they are not fixed in size, but have unlimited variety. All the trees, all of them may be called as trees, but they are all different at looking to look at. Every tree is of different variety only, different category only. So there are many varieties among the trees to look at. Their physical appearance will be all different. Every tree is of different nature. That's why it is called as Visheshana. They are not fixed in size, but have unlimited variety. So they are divided into 6 divisions. What are they? Vanaspati, Oshadi, Lata, Tvakshara, Virudo, and Druma. So they are explained in the next slide. Vanaspati means those variety of fruit plants, those variety of plants which give fruits directly without flowers. Example: the tree like apple. They don't have any flowers. They directly give fruits. Directly the fruits come out from the twigs. There were no flowers first and then fruits next. Not like that. So these are the fruit plants without any flowers. The second one is annual plants. So what was the second one? Oshadi. Oshadi means different variety of Oshadi. They are basically the annual plants means those plants which will stay only for maximum 1 year. They can't live long. All our sabji plants, all our sabji, they come in the category of annual plants. The beans or lentils, rice, wheat, they cannot stay for more than 1 year. In fact, we actually cut them after one season itself. But if you leave them, they can live for one complete year. They all fall in the category of annual plants. The third category is Lata. Lata means creepers. They need support to grow. They can't grow on their own. They are small, tender creepers. They need support to grow. But they give huge subject like pumpkin, lauki, snake gourd. They are all need support in order to grow. And the fourth category is Twaksara. Twakshara means they are hollow plants. The trunk of the plants is actually hollow. It is not a solid trunk. Like castor plant which is shown here, and also like bamboos. Their trunk is hollow. They are of category of Twakshara or hollow plants. The fourth category is called Viruda. That means bushes. They are basically Viruda means deep rooted or strong rooted. It is very difficult to uproot them, and they are very strong. They don't need any support to grow. Like the lata, like the creepers, they need some support, but these bushes they don't need any support. They are very deep rooted, very strong, and very difficult to uproot. In the Bhagavatam, second canto, one of the verse talks about this Virudo. This term is used. So this comes, I think, in the second canto, chapter fourth, in order to explain the transformation in the heart of Parikshit Maharaj. Sutta Goswami narrates, because sages of Naimisharanya request Sutta Goswami to discuss more what happened between Parikshit Maharaj and Sukadeva Goswami. So then he says that Atmajaya Sutagara Pashudravina Bandhushu Rajecha Vikala Nityam Virudam Mamatam Jaho. Virudam Mamatam Jaho. So the concept of me and mine is deep rooted like a bush, the roots of a bush. The concept of me and mine, which one gets by these 8 things. Atma refers to our body, grass body and subtle body. Jaya, wife. Suta, children. Agara, home. Atmajaya, Sutagara, Pashu. Pashu means those days it is animals, but nowadays it is vehicles. In cities we don't have animals, but we have vehicles. Pashu, Dravina, bank balance, our wealth and our possessions. Davina, Bandhushu, our friends and relatives, the society in which we are living. And Rajya. Rajya means, so in relation to Parikshit Maharaj, it is kingdom, the area of influence. But in relation to for us, our duties in our offices, our job, that is our Rajya. We are manager in within our control. There are some employees. That is our Rajya. So in that sense. So these 8 things actually bind us like the deep roots of a bush. It is very difficult to uproot these 8 deep rooted concepts of me and mine. We identify with the body as me, and we identify with our wife, children, home, bank balance, relatives, and vehicles, and employment, our occupation as ours, as mine. The me and mine concept is very deep rooted with these 8 things. So that is compared to a Viruda. Viruda means bushes, the deep rooted bushes. And finally, the last one is Druma. Druma means those trees which will give flowers first, then fruits next, like mango. They give mango flowers. During the month of March, we have mango flowers, which are generally used in making one special item on the Gudi Padwa, and then mango fruits will come eventually. So like that, there could be many other examples, but I just showed one example. So all the other trees can be subgrouped in one of these 6 categories. These are the 6 principal categories. So we can see all other plants in one of these categories. That's why it is said that Visheshana means there are many variety among the plants. And then 21 to 25, the 28 varieties of animals, the 8th creation is being described here. Tirasham Ashtama Sarga, So Ashtavimshadvido Mata, Avido Buritamaso, Granagna Vedina. So the Ashtama Sarga, the 8th creation or the second creation by Brahma is in 28 divisions. Ashtavimshad Vido. It is in 28 divisions, 28 variety of creations of a variety of animals. They are 28 varieties. They distribute nourishment horizontally. Thirasham means they distribute their nourishment horizontally. All the variety of animals, they eat food from the front, and it goes through the stomach, digests, and their body grows horizontally, and the remaining portion of the food will come out of behind the back portion. So all the animals like dogs, cows, goats, and snakes, they eat from the front, the body grows horizontally, and they leave behind the remaining part from behind. That's why the animals are called Tirasham. They distribute their nourishment horizontally. All the variety of animals are like this only. There could be some special cases, maybe otherwise, but in general, their nourishment is horizontal. They are extensively foolish. They don't have any concept of future. That's why they are called as avido. Avido means they are extensively foolish and no concept of future. That's why it said that animals act based on instinct. They immediately act. They immediately respond. They don't remember much. But there are few animals who have long remembrance, like snakes and elephants. They have good remembrance. If snakes become envious of somebody, they come wherever person goes and bite him, something like that. So then they are preoccupied only with food. Their life is meant for eating, sleeping, and eating, sleeping, mating, and defending only. That's why it is called as bhuri tamaso. They are highly ignorant. They are only interested in food, primarily food. You see, animals such as cows, goats, and all. From morning to evening, they continue to eat only. Even in the night, if you put dry gas, they continue to eat whole night, whole day. They can happily eat without any problem. So their entire life is goes in eating only. And then they understand their needs and their desirables by smell. What can be eaten, what cannot be eaten, they understand by smelling only. Granagna. Grana means the spelling. By smelling only they understand what is to be eaten, what is not to be eaten. And they are devoid of lengthy deliberation. Riddhi Avedina. They don't make plans for future like human beings. We make plans for future like life insurance, health insurance, bank balance, this, that, purchasing flats here, purchasing property here, that, like this, like this. So many things we plan. But animals don't plan for future. आज के लिए भोजन मिलेगा क्या नहीं बस they are only focused about that day's food, nothing more than that. They are interested, unable to remember anything within the heart. That's why it is called Rudhi Avedana. They can't remember much, many other things. Even though if somebody beats a dog today, after a couple of days they come again to that person, something like that. So, Ashtavimsha Vido, the 28 variety of animals are being mentioned in the next set of verses. So, 1 to 25 are land dwelling animals. They are mentioned in the three verses. The three verses talks about the 25 variety of land dwelling animals. So, verse number 22, 23, 24 talks about the land dwelling animals. The first verse talks about the 9 variety of animals of cloven hooves. The animals with cloven hooves means their feet has two parts like this. Who are the 9 animals who have cloven hooves? The cows, goats, black deer, buffalo, pigs, wild oxen, antelopes, sheep, and camels. I will read through the verse. Gaura or gaur. Gaur means cows, go, or aja, goats, and mahisha, that is okay, they are in the different order, that is buffalo, and krishna, that is black deer, and shukara, that is pig, and gavaya is wild oxen, ruru, antelopes, and avi, sheep, and ustra, camel. So these are the 9 animals: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All these 9 animals have cloven hooves. Dvishapa. Dvishapa means their feet is two parts. If you happen to see the cow, their feet is of two parts. So in that way. And then there are 5 animals without cloven hooves. They are mentioned in the next verse. Karo Ashwo Ashwataro Gaura Sharabas Chamari Tata Ete Eika Chaika Shapa Shaika Shapa Kshatta Shrunu Pamchanakan Pashun. So basically it says that these are the 5 animals who have Eka Shapa. Only one who. The entire feet is only one portion. It is only one part. It is like one shoe, like the shoe base, like that is one portion only. There is no divisions. Who are the animals in that category? Khara. Khara means donkeys. Ashwa means horses. And Swataro. Ashwataro. Ashwataro means mules. Ashwa means horses. Ashwataro means mules. They are also another variety of horses, which are also used for riding a chariot. And then Gaura deer, another variety of deer, which has only one feet, one portion of the feet. And then Sharabas, and then finally Chamari. Chamari means axe. In our deity worship, we use actail. That in Sanskrit we call as Chamara Seva. When we after that we say that Esha Chamara Seva. So Chamara is made from the air of a Chamari animal. Chamari is called in English as yak. Yaks. From the tail, the hair on the tail used to make that Chamara, which is used for our Harati. So these are the 5 animals without cloven hooves. Their feet is a one portion. In the next slide, I show the images. Then you can understand more better. And then the next verse talks about 11 animals with 5 nails. There are 11 type of animals which have 5 nails. Shwa, that is dogs. Shurgala, jackals. Urko, wolves. Vyagra, tigers. Marjara, cats. Shesha, rabbits. Shallaka, porcupines. Simha, lions. Kapi, monkeys. Gaja, elephants. Kurma, turtles. These are the 11 variety of animals. They have 5 nails. Dogs, we can see, and we can also see cats. And sometimes we can also see rabbits and monkeys. If we happen to go to Vrindavan, we can see rabbits and turtles also. Some people they grow turtles in their homes. So all these animals, to their 4 feet, they have 5 nails each. So all these animals have 5 nails on their 4 feet. So that is being described in this. And the how many are over? 9, 5, 14 plus 11, 25. The 25th, that is called turtle. That is also further called as reptile. The turtles, lizards, and snakes, which are described in the 20th chapter, verse number 47, 47, 48, they are all in the category of reptiles. All these are in the category of animals. The 9, 5, 11, these are all in the category of animals. The 25th one is the category of reptile. The 26th one is the water dwelling aquatics. That is Makara or alligator, which is also further mentioned in the 24th verse, that Makaradaya. Makara means alligators or shark, along with the variety of fishes. They are all aquatics. They are all land dwelling aquatics. That is the 26th variety of animal creation. Now in the next verse, finally the 25th verse talks about variety of birds. The birds are of 2 categories: land dwelling birds and water dwelling birds. The land dwelling birds are heron, peacocks, vultures, cranes, hawks, birds of prey, balukas, crows, and owls. All these are land dwelling birds. They live on the trees, they make nest, and they fly in the air here and there always. But there are some birds like swans, Indian cranes, chakravakas. They fly now and then here and there, but the most of the day they spend their time in water only, in the water lakes, in order to get their food. The chakravakas, cranes, and swans, these are the water birds. They fly in the air, and the most of the time they live in the water. And the remaining birds like heron, peacock, vulture, cranes, hawks, birds of prey, balukas, crows, and owls, they live on the plants, making nests, and they fly in the air. So like this, 28 variety of animals, and which also includes reptiles, birds, aquatics, are the 8th creation by Brahma. These are all the 8th creation by Brahma. So whatever other animals which are not mentioned, the other category of animals which are not mentioned in this here, can be in one, belongs to one of these groups. Could be cloven hooves, their feet with cloven hooves, or their feet without cloven hooves. They might have 5 nails. They could be reptiles. They could be aquatics. They could be birds, etc. In one of the categories they might belong to. So here you can see animals with cloven hooves. All these animals, they have their feet divided into 2 portions. So here bison, here you can see the 2 portions are there. And then There are some animals without cloven hooves. Here you see, this is horse. There is no division in the feet. It is only one. But for these animals, there will be division. There will be two portions. And there are animals with 5 nails, like dog, etc. They have 5 nails here, 5 nails here, 5 nails here, 5 nails here. And lizard, though it has 5 nails, but it comes in the category of reptile. And the land-dwelling birds, like peacock, water-dwelling birds like kamsa, aquatics like fishes and alligators, etc. etc. So these are the different variety of animal species that have been created by Lord Brahma at the 8th creation. Then there is the 9th creation, which is one variety of humans. Arvak shrotastu navama kshattar ekavido nunam rajo adhika karma para dukke cha sukamanina. The 9th class consists of the beings in which the food is distributed downward. Arvak shrotas. Arvak shrotas means food goes downward. We eat from the mouth and food goes downward after nourishing. Whatever remaining goes downward. That's how the human beings are defined. This is the third category of creation. Very simple. The nourishment goes upward. They are plants. The nourishment goes horizontally. That is animals, different variety of animals. The nourishment goes downward. They are humans. These are the three category of principal creation by Brahma. And all the humans are all considered to be Ekavido. There is only one class human beings. When it comes to trees, it is called Visheshana, multiple variety, because every tree is different to look at. But in case of human beings, all our bodily structure is same. Whether the American, African or any other country if you take, every person will have same 2 legs, same 2 hands, same 2 eyes, same 2 nostrils, same 2 ears, same mouth and same bodily internal organs, the liver, heart and lungs, etc. They're all same. They can be interchanged also. That's how all human beings are of one category. So one bodily structure they have. They have a predominance of rajas, rajo adhika. All human beings have predominance of rajas. Rajoguna is more in all human beings. And they are dedicated to work. Karma para. Human beings are not Narayana para. Instead, they are Karma para. They are always dedicated throughout their life. They are working hard, working hard, working hard to get more and more enjoyment. And Dukkecha Sukamanana. Even in distress, they think themselves to be happy. Dukkecha Sukamanana. Even in misery, they feel themselves happy. So that's how it is. These are the qualities of human beings. So these are some examples of karma para. They are predominated by mode of passion. And rajo adhika, karma para, and dukkecha sukamanana. So people are with mode of passion, predominantly in the mode of passion, and they are dedicated to work, and even in misery also they feel happy. This another feature of human beings. And this is one more feature of the human beings. The world's longest traffic jam took place in Beijing, China. It was 60 miles long and lasted for 12 days. Can anyone imagine? For 12 days they are being stuck there. That is the situation. But in spite of that kind of miserable situation, still people think that they are happy. So that was the 9th creation or the 3rd creation by Brahma. So finally the 10th creation is the creation of 8 category of Devatas and Kumaras. Vaikritastraya evaite devasargascha sattama vaikarikastu ya prokta kumara atubayatmaka. The previous 3 variety of creations, Vaikritastraya evaite devatargascha sattama. The previous 3 category of creations are called completely Vaikrita because they are done by Brahma alone. But the 10th creation, it is some portion of Devatas are done by Lord Vishnu, other Devatas are created by Brahma. Thus, Devatas in general are both Prakrita and Vaikrita. Similarly, the creation of Kumaras also is both Prakrita and Vaikrita. About the creation of Kumaras, the discussion will come in the 12th chapter. That time we will discuss. Vaikarikastu ya prokta Kumara Tubayatmaka. So, Devatas and the Kumaras both are the both creations, Prakrita and Vaikrita. Thus, these are the three secondary creations made by Brahma. The creations of the 8 devatas, along with the sense devatas, were both Prakruta and Vaikruta. Creation of Kumaras also both Prakruta and Vaikruta. So basically, there are some sense devatas were created by Lord Vishnu, while the creation of the 24 elements, and then some more devatas will be created by Brahma. So devatas in general are both Vishnu's creation and Brahma's creation. That's why they are called Ubhayatmaka. Similarly, Kumaras are also created by the intervention of Lord Vishnu through Brahma. That's why they are also called Ubhayatmaka. So now, who are the 8 category of devatas? Deva Sargas Shashtavido Sargaste Vishwasuk Kruta. The creation of devatas has 8 divisions. The Supreme Lord performed these 10 creations, making Brahma at the medium. So the 8 category of creations that are mentioned in the 28th and 29th verse are listed here. So whatever is being mentioned in the verse, I just put them here. The Yakshas and Rakshasas are one category of superhuman beings. Though all of them are not devatas, but devatas are prominent among them. Devatas are best among them. That's why all of them are also called after devatas. Or otherwise, we can say that 8 types of superhuman beings, they are all superior to us. They are all created by Brahma. The first category of creation is Yakshas and Rakshasas. The second category of creation is that of the chief devatas. Adityas, Vasut, Marut, Rudras, Ashwinis, etc. Many devatas have been created by Brahma. And the third category is the Daityas and Danavas, who are called Asuras. Kashyapa Muni had many wives. So one of them is Aditi. So Aditi's sons are known as Adityas. So one of them is Danu. The Danu sons are called as Danavas. And one of the wives is Diti. The Diti sons are called Daityas. So Adityas are Devatas, Daityas and Danavas are Asuras. So in that way. And then there are the creation of Gandharvas, then Apsaras. Apsaras and Gandharvas are singers and dancers. They are staying in the Bhuvarloka. And then the next creation is Bhuta Preta Pishashas. They are ghostly beings. Bhuta Preta Vishasha Vinayaka Kushmanda Vetala. All these variety of hobgoblins, ghosts, etc. are the creation by Brahma. They are not imaginations. We generally hear our modern scientific minded people, they always say that these are all imaginary. There is no ghost, something called as, etc. etc. They say that. But Lord Brahma himself created them. He created a Bhuta, Preta, Pishasha, Vesha, Vetala, Kushmanda, like that, many varieties. They were all there, they are there, they will be there. We cannot deny them. We cannot deny their existence, saying that they are illusory. And next creation is that of Sadhyas and Pitrus. They are called forefathers. And then there is the creation of Siddhas, Charanas, and Vidyadharas. And finally, the eighth creation is Kinnaras, Kimpurushas, etc. Like the superhuman beings are created in 8 variety. Yakshas, Rakshasas, 1 variety. The chief devatas such as the Adityas, Vasus, Marus, Rudras, Ashwinis, they are another variety. The Daityas and Danavas, who are known as Asuras, another variety. Gandharvas, Apsaras, 1 variety. Bhuta Preta Pishashas, 1 variety. Sadhyas and Pitrus, 1 variety. Siddha Charana Vidyadharas, 1 variety. Kinnaras, Kimpurushas, another variety. The chief devatas reside in Swargaloka, and Daityas, Danavas reside in Bilaswarga, the lower 7 planetary system. Atala, Vital, Sudala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala are the residents of Daityas and Danavas. Swargaloka is the residence of Adityas, Vasut, Marus, etc. And Bhuvarloka. In Bhuvarloka lives Yakshas and Rakshasas, Bhuta Preta Pishashas. They live in the Bhuvarloka. One section of the Bhuvarloka, these 2 people live. And in the other section of Bhuvarloka lives Gandharvas, Apsaras, and the Siddha, Charanas, Vidyadharas, Kinnaras, Kimpurusha. They all live in the other portion of the Bhuvarloka. Sadhyas and Pitrus, these 2 category people live in the moon planet. The moon has been divided into 2 portions. In one portion, Sadhyas reside. In another portion, Pitrus reside. Like that, these different variety of people live in different places in our universe. Specifically, the 7 lower planets is the residence of Asuras, Daityas and Danavas. And Bhuloka is the residence of Devata, the Sargaloka is the residence of Devatas. And one portion of Bhuvarloka is the residence of Yakshas and Rakshasas, Bhuta Preta Pishashas. And on the other portion, the Gandharvas, Apsaras, Sadhyas, Pitrus, Siddhas, Charanas, Vidyadharas, and Kinnaras, they reside in the other portion of the Bhuvarloka. In the moon, Sadhyas and Pitrus reside. So thus these are the 8 category of creation that are done by Brahma as is 4th creation. So these are all the 4th creation of Brahma. So finally, so we'll come to the last verse of this chapter. So wherein the chapter ends by saying, so this verse says, Ata param pravakshyami vamshan manvantarani cha evam rajapluto shasra vedam rajapluto srishta kalpadishu atmabhurhari सृजति अमोघ संकल्प आत्मैवात्मानम् आत्मना. So atah param pravakshami vamsham manvantarani cha. So he said that I have mentioned about the creation of Lord Vishnu and the creation of Brahma. Now I would like to describe about the Vamsha, different dynasties, Manvantarani, different Manvantaras, and Vamsha, Manvantaras, and different variety, the different periods of Manus, etc. etc. So Evam Rajapuluta Srishta, they were all created by mode of passion. They are all passionate activity. The creation is the activity in the mode of passion. Kalpadishu Atmabhur Hari. I will also talk about various kalpas of Brahma and also various manvantaras of Brahma, manvantaras within the kalpas of Brahma. Like that, all those things I will describe. Srijati Amoga Sankalpa. By his undefeatable Sankalpa, by his undefeatable Sankalpa, by undefeatable determination, the Supreme Lord created all these creations either by himself or through his expansions, such as Brahma. Atma, Atmaiva Atmanam Atmana. Atmaiva Atmanam Atmana. Either he created by himself as Mahavishnu and Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, or he created by his one of his expansion as Brahma. He does all these creations, and but through these creations, all these so many things will happen. Different Vamshas, different Manvantaras, different Kalpas. I will explain all these things in the future chapters. So kindly listen. So thus, this chapter kind of summarizes the creation of Vishnu in 6 stages and the creation of Brahma in 4 stages. Thus, total is explained in the 10 types of creation. So, simple to remember, the 6 kinds of creation by Lord Vishnu is the creation of Mahatattva, first one. The second one is the creation of Ahankara. The third one is the creation of mind and Devata, sense Devatas. The fourth one is creation of intelligence and Karmendriya, Sanjnanendriya, senses. The fifth one is creation of Pancha Mahabhutas and 5 Tanmatras. So these 5 are created from Pradhana. That's why they are called as Gunamaya Srishti. So, and then the 6th creation is called creation of Avidya in 5 stages. Avidya, Asmita, Raga, Dvesha, Abhinivesha. They are the creations of Avidya potency, the second component of Maya Devi. And through this Maya Devi, through this Avidya Shakti of Maya Devi, through these 5 coverings, Lord Brahma creates 4 variety of living entities. Matlab basically Lord Brahma creates the different variety of bodies, giving them 4 different identities. So these creation of these 4 identities or 4 categories of bodies is called Vaikrita, that is by Brahma, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. The 7th creation is the creation of all the variety of plants and trees in 6 varieties. The plants known as some plants directly give fruits without any flower, and some plants are they stay for 1 year only, all the sabji plants, and some are creepers, they need support to grow, and some are hollow plants, and some are deep rooted bushes, and finally some plants are they give flowers first and then give fruits. 6 variety of fruits, 6 variety of plants. And the 8th creation is 28 variety of animals. They are subdivided into the animals with cloven hooves, the animals without cloven hooves, the animals with 5 nails, and then reptiles, and then aquatics, and then finally the land dwelling birds and water dwelling birds. Like that, 28 variety of animals have been mentioned there in the 8th creation. Then the human beings who have the qualities as that of Rajo Adhika, Karma Para, and Dukeshu Shukamanana. So what is the distinction between these 3 kinds of creation? The plants are Utroshas, Ushrotas. Their nourishment goes upward. The animals are the animals are called as Tirasham. Their nourishment goes horizontally, and the human beings are called Ushrotas. The human beings are called Arvakshrotas. Their nourishment goes downward. Plants upward, animals horizontally, the humans downward. These are the three distinctions. And the fourth or final, the 10th creation is that of the 8 variety of devatas or 8 variety of superhuman beings. So which consists of the main devatas, asuras, which includes the main devatas, which include Adityas, Rudras, Ashwinis, Vasus, etc. etc. And then there are asuras, which consist of Aditya, the Daityas and Danavas, then Yakshas and Rakshasas, then Gandharvas and Apsaras, then Kinnaras, Kimpurushas, and Vidyadharas, and then Sadhyas and Pitrus. Then there is a creation of Bhuta Preta Pishashas, and then what was the eighth one? The missing. The eighth one is Siddhacharana, Vidyadharas, Gandharvas, and Apsaras, like that. So these are the 8 variety of animals, 8 variety of superhuman beings that have been created by different variety of animals, different the 4 creations by Brahma. So we'll stop here. So that is how the variety of 10 variety of creations are primarily done by the Supreme Lord only, either directly or indirectly. So that is being indicated in this chapter. So we'll stop here. So if any devotees have any queries, we will consider. Hare Krishna. All of you could follow what we are trying to discuss here. No queries, whether you have understood everything or not understood at all, or anything which you find something very different from what you know previously. You can share that also. So basically, we should understand one thing, that the creation of all this variety of species is not by one species to other species, but Lord Brahma personally created them. And eventually we'll read about it, that all these species, by their union, they continue the subsequent creation by producing their offsprings. That's how the things going on now. One simple logic can be seen against to Darwin's theory is that, so Darwin is telling that about many thousands of years back, this transmutation happened from singular cellular to bicellular, tricellular, multicellular, and then like that monkeys have transformed into human beings. But we can't see that now. Why? But Bhagavatam says that first Brahma created all the variety of living species, which we will discuss in the 12th chapter. That is one of the important topic at the end of the 12th chapter. But later on, they themselves will create future living entities. The creation is going on just the way it has started at the time of Brahma. So this is the natural way of begetting children. So in that way, in any species. So that's the principal difference that we can see from Bhagavatam understanding and the modern scientific understanding.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice class, Prabhuji.
Oh, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you. Does anyone have some query, Prabhuji? I don't think so.
Okay. So today is Ekadashi. Devotees are fasting, it seems. They are all tired, waiting for prasad. So no problem. We will break.
Yes.
Hmm.
Thank you very much once again, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for joining. So